Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
The podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today, we are starting our Christmas coverage of single-issue comics that are holiday-themed. And the first one we're going to do is Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 79, which came out January of 96. Actually, it probably came out, I think it's 3 months after that, but the date on the cover is January 96. And is it 3 months before? It must be three. I don't know. If it came out, it must be before, because that would be Christmas time, right?
Yeah, that would be weird to have it come out after that. They'd be like, I'm already done with Christmas stuff. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's either 3 months before or 3 months after, but it must be before because wouldn't make sense if it came out in March.
Yeah.
But if it came out in September or October, that would be fine. So, anyway, yeah. So, this is the series that was like it was billed as like the first new Batman series since the original two, which were Detective Comics and Batman, the original series. And so this was like the first comic series that was like an extra add-on that they came up with right before the movie came out, the one with Michael Keaton, the original Batman movie. And it was like they were just kind of trying to cash in on that whole movie experience. So, and I love this series. We actually did one of the stories a while ago. We did one called Blink.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was for Black History Month. Yeah, that was in this series. That was by Dwayne McDuffie, I believe.
Yeah, Blink was a lot of fun. That was a very unique story. And yeah, I think, like you said, it was Dwayne McDuffie. So it's always good to read stuff from him.
Yeah. And I think like this series is great because it's like, hey, you got a Batman story you want to tell. It doesn't necessarily have to not be in continuity, but it doesn't have to be in like the main two series and follow whatever's going on currently. It could be just like this happened one time to Batman, and you get like a 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 issue kind of little run you could do to tell that story. So I like this idea a lot. And you get different writers and artists, every 3 to 5 issues or 3 to 6 issues. So I enjoy that personally. And it ran for like 212 issues or something like that. Maybe even like 230. I can't remember exactly how long, but something like that. It ran fairly long. So, but this issue is, like I said, number 79. It is called My Favorite Things, and it is written by Mark Miller with art by Steve Yoel. And I've never heard of this artist before, but his art was pretty cool in it. I'd say the only thing that was weird in this was the coloring. I think it's because it's digital coloring, but all the colors were so dark that a lot of the times like the shadows and stuff are really like taking over any kind of details and whatnot. But that kind of happens with digital coloring in the 90s because they weren't exactly sure how it would come out in print. But anyway, so yeah, and we're going to do a special occasion for this one. John's going to actually take the lead on this. So with that, take it away, John.
So we open up in Gotham, and it's Christmas time. The snow's falling. Everybody's out shopping or doing their last minute things. And we have the zoom of the Batmobile. And this is like the, 1950s or 60s Batmobile. It's got the big bat face on the front. Okay. And Batman's he's got his blue cowl with like gray suit in here. And he's on the prowl. He's like, how's the party out? For anyone ask why I disappeared? And he's like, yeah, I said, you've got urgent business upstairs. And I love Bruce's response. He's like, blonde or brunette?
I love that too.
So, again, right away, it feels very much like a classic kind of like Batman thing is going on. And so he's on his way. He's like, how could I let this happen? I can't believe it. I have to, someone broke into Wayne Manor and stole something very precious to
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah,
And
that's the reveal is that he's rushing back and we don't know why, but it's because someone has broken into Wayne Manor and stolen something that's very valuable to Batman.
he has to get it back. And so he's driving around. He drives to a couple of nightclubs, and he finally finds the first person he's looking for. He's looking for Eddie Mulligan, and it's very 90s. They've got kind of like kind of hip hop clothes on with like funky glasses, and he's like, "What's up, Bats? Looking for me, big guy?" Batman kind of like bitch slaps him across the room. He's like, "All right, everybody out now. I need to talk to."
It's very unlike Batman. Like he's so angry that he just doesn't say anything. He just walks up to Mulligan and just backhands him, like, which is pretty crazy. He's like, "Let's step into your office," and then just beats the shit out of him like immediately.
Yeah, he literally gives him a swirly. He like throws his head in the toilet. He's like, tell me where they took it." And he's like, "I swear I don't know nothing." uh, so it's pretty ridiculous. So while he's doing that, Commissioner Gordon is responding to some kind of fire bombing of a museum. Um, Basically, someone saw Commissioner's like, "Any witnesses?" And the cop's like, "Yeah, the people saw the Joy Boys running away, and they just can't they can't stand the holiday season or whatnot." And I guess the Joy Boys are
Well, it says the Joe Boys are a weird kid gang that are crazy about the Joker, but they're not actually like working for the Joker. They're just like obsessed with him.
yeah it looks like they're not the Joker. It's like henchmen, but they just love the Joker. And so yeah, so they're the Joy Boys, I guess, ran away, and so Commissioner's like, we got to figure this out. And while that's happening, this lady is getting picked up. Her name is Tabitha, and she is blind.
Did you get that right away? I didn't realize that until like way later.
No, yeah, it's just because they mentioned that, so I only realized that she's blind. And so he's getting picked up by, I guess, her usual Cappy, and his name's Arnie. And right as she's getting in, the Joy Boys appear and they pull her out of the car, and they start, kind of roughing her up and seeing if she's got anything on her. And it's like, "Oh, good thing that you're blind, because it's probably best that you don't see this." And so while they're roughing her and Arnie up, Batman appears and drops down in on him and is like, "Joy Boys, your choice of role model stinks," and starts beating him up on him. And I love one's getting away. He's like, "You won't catch me, Bat Slime," and he's got the fastest legs in Gotham. And Batman calls into his Batmobile, and it looks like the Batmobile runs over.
I love this too. And then the girl's like, "Oh, is he dead?" And then Batman's like, "No, it was just a glancing blow."
No, I just broke like several ribs, and he hit his head on the pavement, but he's fine. You'll be okay. You know what? You're beautiful, Tabitha. Like, no worries. Like, well, let me help you pick up your flowers and stuff. So Batman's there, and then he's looking for whatever was stolen, but he has time, to stop the small crimes going on.
Well, I think she knows something about the break-ins because he was going to meet her. I don't know how he knows. I guess the idea we're supposed to get is that each of these people he's talking to or beating up or whatever for information are at like either different points of the night or different nights in altogether, because later through the comic it skips like a week ahead or something, or at least 3 nights ahead or something. So I don't know if from the information he got from the guy with the swirly, he heard that Tabitha knows about the break-ins, so that's why he came to Tabitha and just happened to catch the Joy Boys doing this.
Oh, okay. I guess I missed that. I was assuming it was just Batman taking care of like other crime that was going on while he's still searching for his. I didn't make that connection. I must have missed a little piece there.
Well, I think because like really this is a pretty big story that like Mark Miller's trying to fit into 24 pages or whatever. So
Yeah.
he's just kind of moving through it. So like, Batman saves her and then he's like, "Now tell me about these break-ins," after he like, and it's almost like, is he manipulating her? Because she does not look pretty. She's gotten beat up and she looks pretty ragged because, she got beat up and everything by the Joy Boys. But Batman's like, "No, you look great, Tabitha. Anyway, tell me about these break-ins." So it's like he's just lying to her to get his information.
So Batman's said he's got a name, he's on the way, but then he sees the bat signal, so he stops in with Commissioner Gordon, and he's like, "Oh man, we got an anonymous call. There was a gang that was robbing some mansions, but it's kind of complicated because now there's a hostage situation." And Batman's like, "It's the chessmen." So I guess there's this group of villains. There or this gang called the Chessmen. They are led by the King. Uh, obviously the king of the Chessmen.
I love this gang, and I was telling John earlier. I'm like, man, these guys, they're all dressed in like trench coats that go to like their feet. And then each of their hairstyles represents whatever chess piece they are. And they also have like a tattoo or a sticker or whatever on their forehead painted of the chess piece they are. So like the king has a crown on his forehead, but he also has like a mohawk. And then the rook has a castle on his forehead, and then his hair looks like a castle. It's got like peaks and valleys or whatever, and it's ridiculous. I was telling him like before they rob anything, they have to spend like an hour and a half on their hair, just making sure it looks correct before they do their jobs.
Yeah, you got to know who which piece is which. So yeah, it's a pretty fantastic Batman minor villain group. So Batman goes to this, and I mean they mean business because this hostage situation that's turned. They have some people hostage in one of the places they're held up, and they actually killed a cop. So he's dead on the ground. They shot him in the head, and while they're trying to figure out how they're going to get out of there, Batman drops in on him, and he throws down a like smoke grenade, and so they can't see where he's going, and he starts taking them out one by one.
I was going to ask John, one of the weapons he uses a bat, I guess a frequency generator to bring a herd of bats at his command. I don't know this. I don't know. I should probably look it up. Have you in any of the older Batmans that we've read? Do you remember if this has been a thing that's used?
No, the only time I remembered, I was going to say that the only time I remembered something like this happening, which is, again, it's very cool, was the first Batman Begins.
Right.
So, which I mean, I assume they probably pulled from a comic, but I had never seen it like in comic form. So that was really cool to see.
It would be cool if this is like the first appearance of that. I don't know if it is or not, but it does seem like something Mark Miller would come up with in the 90s because he was such a new writer. And it's also like for Legend of the Dark Knight, so it's not like if people don't like it, it's not like it's stuck in continuity or something for like the main Batman title. So
yeah, it could be just something to try. Either way, like I said, it's very cool to see. He hits this little button, and then you just see like a couple start trailing in, and then you just see the onomatopoeia across the top of the scree of all the little bats like coming in and then attacking the king is pretty awesome. So Batman gets the jump on him with that, and is like, "Checkmate, king, game over." And so he's like, where was it stashed? I'm out of patience. Tell me where it is. Talk. And then right then it's when the police break in, and of course Batman is in and out. He's got them all tied up.
But he leaves a note.
Yeah, act like a police chief, not a publicity hound. Yeats, or I'll have to act. I won't always have more urgent business like tonight. And then he only cited B. I wish he had a little bat stamp.
Yeah, that would be amazing if he had like an actual bat that he stamped it with. But yeah, we forgot to say, but it's not Commissioner Gordon running this hostage situation. It's Police Chief Yeats.
Batman tracks down he finally figures out where this item he's looking for is, and he gets a jump on this guy's place. He breaks into. We don't ever get this guy's name, right?
I don't think so. It's just a poor guy with two kids that lives in like some shitty tenement building, basically.
Yeah, and he's like, "All right, I heard that the goods were here with you. Where are they?" And he's like, "Oh, I already gave them back, Batman. Honest, I swear." And he's like, "You gave them back?" He's like, "Yeah, I was paid to stash them until things cooled off, but I couldn't keep those things. They didn't belong to me." So it's very much like, I only did it because I've got two young boys to feed, and please don't throw me in jail, Batman. My kids need me.
I kind of wish this was a question story, because the question would have been like, "How dare you?" and like beat the shit out of him and arrested him in front of his children.
In front of his kids. Yeah, I was wondering, but then it makes sense because it's the holidays. Batman's like, all right, don't do it again.
And Batman isn't a like a hard moralist either.
Yeah, so he picks and chooses who he feels is worthy of hit, taking in for justice, or if it's again, shame on you, don't do that again. And I mean, obviously, it's not bad enough because Batman also leads a roll of rolled up money and then some toys for the kids. So
Yeah, he had a sack of toys. Is that what we're to assume?
I think that's what that's supposed to be on the table there, right? Because I
It
don't.
might just be like garbage from them. I don't know if he left toys. I think he just left a thing of cash.
Okay, well, either way, he gives them stuff. So
Because that would mean that he showed up not knowing any of this stuff about the dad and the kids with a sack of toys somehow.
with a sack of. That's true. Okay, I guess that is a sack of garbage. I assumed because it was blue-ish black that maybe.
I want to know where he kept that roll of hundreds between his cheeks.
It's in it. No, it's in the front of his tights.
His pouch.
Yeah, his little pouch there. He stuffs with with $100 bills.
Yes.
So Batman gets back home, and so Bruce is now sitting in I guess his old room,
His childhood room.
Yeah, and he's sitting on the floor, half out of his Batman suit, and he's like, "Oh, I see you've recovered it." Alfred comes in, "I see you covered it, Master Wayne." And he's like, "Yeah, my favorite thing, the last thing my folks ever gave me." And it's like, it's a little choo-choo. His folks gave him a train. It's the last present he got from his mother and father. And so yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, it's safe and sound. It's getting late. So I was worried. I think it's time for you to go to bed. And yep, Bruce is like, yep, time for bed.
I don't know about you, but this story really makes Batman seem super like Arrested Development. Because he just can't. I mean, he's playing with trains because he can't get over the death of his mom and dad. I mean, I guess technically he's playing, crime fighter because he can't get over the death of his mom and dad. But it really makes it seem like he should go to therapy, probably.
Very much so, especially this because like Alfred basically is also treating him like a kid. Like, okay, yep, your toy safe and sound now. Like, let's go to bed. Don't like stay up all night and play with the train just because you're sad about mommy and daddy.
Yeah, it's like almost like he's his dad, like, and Batman is a child.
It seems like yes, like Batman would not be Batman if he just maybe, I don't know, used some of that money and went to therapy and worked through his feelings on losing his folks. But
yeah, and then I don't know, dedicate your resources and stuff to the less fortunate.
Yeah, I feel like Bruce could do way more for the city of Gotham with his money and time than as Batman. But hey, that's it's the holidays. It's not for.
That's true.
You don't have time for that.
He could start a library for children who want to learn how to read good and other stuff.
But yeah, so that's the some of my favorite things. It is Batman's favorite thing. It is his toy that his folks gave him, and that is what he ran over a Joy Boy for and beat the crap out of the chess man and some local thugs, and gave one guy a swirly. It was all to get back his choo-choo train.
Yeah.
It was a hardcore Christmas for Batman.
With that being said, John, what would you give it and what do you think?
It is a fun little story, a nice little wrap up and a little fun holiday story. The art is fun. It's a fun little story. It wraps up real nicely, and I think it was a little silly that it was his toy, but I mean, again, it's fun the way it comes together, and you're like, oh wow, that's what it was for. It was literally just a toy that his folks gave him.
I knew it was going to be something like that, but I was thinking it was going to be like, like a sled, like Rosebud or something, like a direct call to like Citizen Kane or some shit.
Yeah, I thought that, or maybe like I figured it would be something from his folks, but I didn't think it would be a toy. But it makes sense for being Christmas or whatever. So yeah, but overall I liked it. Like you said, the art, the coloring is a little weird reading it like this digitally. So
I don't think it's because it's digitally we're reading it. I think it's because it's digitally colored, like originally in the comic.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I meant specifically. But yeah. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's a fun little story. I love doing all of the specials for Halloween and Christmas and Easter and 4th of July when they make those two. I'm a sucker for those little stories. So yeah, it was fun. I would give it I'd give it a 7.
All right, cool. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, I think it was fun. I think it's a pretty like, it's above average. It wasn't like, like my favorite comic or anything, but if I bought it and read it at the time or even today, I'd be like, yeah, that was a fine like Christmas issue, and it was kind of fun, and there was like a little bit of craziness with the Joy Boys and how violent Batman is and how crazed over what you find out as a train.
Yeah, if you think about him like beating up someone over like a person, like like in the movies, like where's Rachel or whatever. But like it's just a toy this time.
It's a toy train. And then also like did he let Tabitha get beat up by the Joy Boys so that he could save her and then get information?
Oh, that's terrible. You think he was there
questions.
watching and just waiting?
Yeah, waiting for her to get slapped and possibly assaulted other ways, and then, or the threat of that at least, and then jump in and save her, and then be like, "You look beautiful. Don't think about it. I saved you." So anyway, that information about the robberies. That's what I think. That's my headcanon for what happened in this issue.
Wow.
But with that being said, I'm going to give it a 6. I think it's better than average, but it's not like, not as good as Goon was.
No, that's true.
Yeah, which I gave a 7. And if you would like to hear that, you can join on Patreon and get that exclusive episode at patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books. So, yeah, so you gave it a 7, I gave it a 6. And with that, we'd like to thank our patrons, Hoku, Otaku, Mike, Christian, Matthew, Kyla, Joseph, Kalia, Kevin, and James. You guys are awesome. You keep the lights on. You're why we keep doing this all the time, every month, without stop. So
speaking of Patreon, so every month our patrons also get to vote on our second episode of the month. They get an exclusive, like last month was the Goon, and so they get that additional episode, and then they get to vote. And this month we have, again, all single issue holiday winter-esque themed. We've got Stuff of Nightmares, Sleigh Ride, Detective Comics 826, Green Lantern, Lara Flea's Christmas Special, and then Jonah Hex number 34. So there's some fun holiday-esque stories in there. We'll have that poll up for you to take a look at, patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, if you would like to become a patron. Head there, check out the tiers. And then we'll also have our holiday special episode this year. We're doing 2, one for the patrons and one for everyone. We love the season of giving, and so we're giving everyone an extra episode this month as well. We'll be doing the Batman Adventures holiday special, and then the patrons will get an exclusive in Hitman 22.
Yeah, so that should be fun. I've actually never read Hitman, so I'm excited to read that for the patrons. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.